I think we're live.
Hey, brother.
Good morning, San Diego.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam. I was trying to come up with, like an anchor man, something that Ron Burgundy says, but nothing came to mind immediately.
What's the Panther one with the clone? 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. Sex Panther?
Sex
Like
Panther. 60% of the time, every time.
Wow.
Yeah, it has low.
What is that putrid smell? Hey, what do you want to talk about today, brother? What are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I think most people know us, but I'm Andrew. This is Eric. We're here to discuss the PRI trade show, which was in Indianapolis, Indiana last week. Let's talk about what we saw, what we learned, what we got excited about. And if you're watching, we want to know a couple things. So drop a comment and let us know. Marlon says hello. It's the Glitter Twins. Michael Cooper's here as well. Good deal. So let us know if you're going to be joining us at an Instructor Summit event. If you're already in the know and you know what that is, let us know if you're going to be at the Instructor Summit event at Road Atlanta, the Road Atlanta Driving Club, or in Indianapolis. And also, if you were at PRI, what did you see that you got fired up about? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, all the usual stuff. Hit the wow face. That really helps. If you've gotten something out of watching this show, whether it's us talking about data or a product or something in particular that you've learned a lot from, pay it forward and hit share and spread it to your network. That really helps a lot. So all that being said, what did you see at PRI that you were into, Eric?
I would say the overall thing that I saw is more people that are attending that are drivers, instructors, HPDE folks. This thing is growing big. I say that because Mr. Rains, historically, and I remember when PRI was back in Indianapolis, and then it went to Orlando, and then it came back here. It came back here 2012, I think. I think it left in 05. So I think I made all these but two since 05. And historically, it was you needed a business card and credentials to get in. That they've waived that. There are it's open to the public, and the public is coming in, and I'm seeing a lot of public, and that's probably the single biggest thing that is changing PRI show.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think we saw a lot more, whether it's existing customers or new potential customers, just people that are interested in the industry and not necessarily making a living from the industry being at the show. I was pretty surprised by that as well.
You talking about at your booth, the folks that are stopping by, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I was just running around and talked to so many people. This was their first time. And I would also offer that there are many people that, again, go back in the driver status, the driver category. You know, they don't own a shop. They don't own a machine shop or engine building shop or a fab shop or, build shock dynos or distributors. There's regular old drivers there coming out of the woodwork. And I say that because they came up to me and it was like, good to see you, again, the second time in 2 years or the third time, or a lot of first timers. And the interesting takeaway for me, global 30,000 foot view, a lot of the vendors were like, wow, this is different this year. I got this from about every vendor, that there was more John Q public foot traffic. It's getting big.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot of people walking around, and just, it really reminds you how impactful this industry can be, and how it can affect so many people. Even though we think of it being pretty small and insular, there's still a lot of people that generate their living from it. There's still a lot of businesses that are finding ways to offer solutions and solve problems. And we do really, really well, especially now that we've been with HMS, because they're such an established brand and business, and they do so much for so many people in the industry that we've really benefited from being aligned with them at their booth. So we had a big time. I mean, we ran into each other. We hardly got to talk more than a couple minutes at a time, because it was just nonstop bombardment. It was a great show for us. I think this is probably the most beneficial year, just as far as networking and connections and getting to see new people, and ran into tons of our dealers and resellers, and went
You had
out
some
and
good traffic at HMS. They had a really big booth. I was impressed. That was a pretty big footprint. I suspect that was not cheap at all.
no, not at all. Not at all. It's a big
I'm going to
investment.
go out on a limb here. I bet you that I'm wondering if that was 20 grand. I'm guessing.
Easily. And you're not talking like travel and hotel and all the added
Booth
costs.
rental, PRI, write a check. Yeah. I think the normal booth is, it's either 16 or 17, a 10 by 10. And if you buy two, it's double minus like 20%. So I think it's 3,400 by a 20 by 10, if I remember right. And that's like the base. That's the entry level white Ford Taurus with crank windows, AFM and AM FM cassette.
Yeah. It only goes up from there. And they offer all sorts of stuff. The trade show themselves offer like lead generating software for businesses. They offer like all these different packages that you can buy. So you can really go all in. I think a lot of the bigger, more established brands, like legacy brands that are there, like you see Holley Performance Products or GM or Ford. I think they're really able to do that. For us, it's really more of just, I think PRI honestly is what gave our business a chance at being noticed, because if you show up at PRI, you have to at least be somewhat real. And that was a really big benefit. Folks like Marlon and Laurie. I mean, we met them our very first year at PRI 4 years ago. So it's pretty wild to me that it's been 4 years. So if I rewind 4 years ago, that was December of, maybe it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't remember. Hey, Larry, we got a friend.
What up?
But
Larry's in the house. Say hello, Larry.
Larry is in the house. But it was a different deal being there 4 years ago. What's pretty wild to me is how many people are familiar with the product and the message, and it's not as much as just. I'm not answering as many questions about who are you and why are you doing this and that sort of thing. I think people kind of understand our mission. It's more about what's going to be new, what's exciting, what are you guys excited about? And so we had a lot to talk about with OBD2 enhancements and a lot of really cool stuff that's growing. But I was excited to see more drivers like you're talking about, because our customer base is not really the business to business world, and that we're not solving like a data related problem for people that are building cars and building motors and that sort of thing. We're dealing with people that go to the racetrack and want to get better. And so
I need to take a brief moment to shout out to Jay Andrew, who put the stick. Jay, I'm going to get you. This is an inside joke with putting wood in each other's office and under the pillow and in the car under the seat and into the pillowcase.
I don't know if I want to.
I got you, Andrew. Coming to get you right there. It's under my keyboard. While you were playing Apex Pro with Baker, I was walking around checking out all the data opportunities. It is there are more folks out there that have a higher price point that is sort of beyond entry level, above entry level. They're in the 800 and up range. They got a lot of neat efforts that, and I met them and I talked to them. AIM went to talk to Roger Cadell at length, who has a ton of training programs going on. Roger is being asked by more people to do his intro and advanced. Almost everybody should know that Roger's benchmark program is typically Saturday as an intro, and Saturday is an advance. It's data. They just happen to use Race Studio, but a squiggle is a squiggle, right? A speed trace is a speed trace. Guys, get in there, get to know it. There is I got a list of all his programs, but in between VBox with an interesting item again, higher. I mean, the beauty about what you're doing, Rains, is there is a fantastic price point, including OBD. It's doing everything there, and the interface in your hand. I even did this today. Somebody said something on Facebook, and they were talking about remember Tracy's
what G's were you
Road Atlanta?
Yeah,
I could pull it up right here in 10 seconds, and there's the answer. That is not easy to do in a laptop that you might not have on your person. So I know I'm jumping around a lot, but there's a lot of people doing data education. You're at the forefront on the entry level. I'm here to support you. There's a bunch of education happening right now. In fact, well, I'm talking too much. What'd you
No.
get when you went walking around and you were not Apex Pro, and what did you see? What's happening in the data?
Well, I really didn't get to do that much. Unfortunately, when I did, I was going to see somebody that I had kind of prearranged to see. So I didn't really get to take in the show from the standpoint of just like seeing what's new and interesting. I got to run by the AIM booth briefly. I got to see a couple of the different products. What's interesting is like a couple of products that, in particular, the race pack line of data products was well represented 2 years ago, and they were nowhere to be found. And I was really interested to see because they had a real emphasis on entry-level track day product. What's been a really interesting trend in the data industry that people watching this might not, I guess, have seen, that I've seen from my perspective, is that using the cloud as a data acquisition solution 2 years ago was a really big deal. So like multiple companies were promoting that they had data hardware that saved all your data to the cloud, and then you could pull it down. And that is virtually non-existent now. There wasn't a single company there that I knew of. And I of course, keep tabs with what everyone else is doing because I want to know what's new and interesting and what are people interested in. And the cloud thing actually really fizzled, which I think is really interesting. There are probably 4 companies that were really, really big into that. And I know of a couple that are doing it now. And apparently that's been a technology that was misunderstood.
So when do I know? What's your advice here? The latest update, right? Little cloud guy. When do you use that? What's your advice to users on how and when and how to use it? What's the official Apex Pro position, my brother?
The more the better, for sure. Basically, what that does is you have to have an iCloud Drive account, and that's actually different than cloud computing software because we're not reliant on the cloud. You're actually storing your data on the phone, and then that button right there pushes it to the cloud. So you can basically tap the button and save your data to the iCloud Drive, and then you can access it from anywhere that your iCloud Drive's tethered to. So if you have an iPad that
transferring, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you have your same iCloud username signed into your phone, your iPad, your Mac, you can access it all 3 places. Obviously, we don't have a way to view it on Mac yet, but that way you don't actually have to physically transfer files.
I know you can't see this, everybody. 29 sessions were successfully transferred to your iCloud documents. 41 files have been synced previously or are duplicates.
Yep.
Few files right there. They are.
Just
Apex
overwrite
Pro
the duplicates.
Yep. I can probably figure out how to do that. Right.
It's a little tricky. It's hard to see. There you go.
All right. Look at that.
So you'll just see under files, there's a files app. It looks like a manila envelope on iPhone, and you'll see it. And that's where you can save other stuff there as well. You can save videos and pictures and that sort of thing.
It is iCloud Drive, right?
Yep, exactly. The files app. We have a video about it. And I'm happy to post that. I've got some other stuff queued up here. So that's, but I just thought that was interesting. And I don't know if that's something that you remember or noticed, but it seemed like that was kind of a big point of emphasis. And that was something that I was going at the time. Hey, we're not really using the cloud. Should we be doing this? And when I say using the cloud, I mean, when you tap save, all your data is saved in the cloud. And then when you want to view it, you have to pull it out of the cloud. Apex Pro doesn't work that way. And so I was concerned at the time. I was like, wow, everybody's using this cloud technology. But now I'm actually hearing people that have used these products going, yeah, it doesn't work. It takes a long time to get your data out of the cloud, which is wild to me. Marlon made a good point. He said, before you guys close, can you talk about Road Atlanta? I think he's referencing the Intro to Pro Coaching event from Road Atlanta that we did the weekend before PRI. So you and I are really catching our breath because not only did we both have to do all sorts of stuff in between, but we did an event at Road Atlanta. We went to PRI. And then for me at PRI, I don't know about you, but I went out with somebody every night to talk Apex Pro 2020. What are we doing? How are we going to sell more? How are we going to grow? How are we going to bring more value to people? All that kind of stuff on in into the evening. And then woke up the next morning and did it again. And now I'm trying to get my act together before Christmas starts.
That damn Eric, Call, and Sumlin were drinking tequila in my kitchen at too late in the evening.
We did the same
Well,
thing. Baker decided he didn't want to go to bed Saturday night. He wanted to stay up all night until our flight.
whoa.
Didn't quite happen, but we tried.
So let's talk about Road Atlanta real brief. We'll wrap it up, and we'll talk about some ongoing, upcoming data seminars. There are many. There are many, many, many. Intro to pro coaching. Shooting for 10 people. You and I got together and we said, hey, and it's kind of something like this. Hey, Andrew, you know, it'd be really great. It would be really great to help work with drivers. And I'm not wearing my chief instructor hat. I got all these duties and responsibilities. Man, how many people do you think that you and I could work with to successfully invest some high quality time at Jim Pantis's Napa Southeast event? And we came up with like 10 to 12, right? Had 10, we had a couple people fall out. We ended up with 8, right? And we had 8 people show up on Friday afternoon. Take it away. What happened next?
All me. Yeah. So we got to the track Friday. We all had dinner together. And basically this was a group session where we're all new to the racetrack, except for one driver, I believe, and maybe 1 or 2 others that had been once or twice. So pretty much everyone was new to the racetrack. So this was really creating an environment where a lot of people traveled from a long distance. They kind of have a family, a kind of an organization, a group in the paddock built in. So that's one component.
Had Cleveland.
Kind of a team.
We had 2 people from Cleveland. We had a Chicago. We had 2 from Columbus. We had an Elkhart. Came down with Colin Fox. Shout out to Fox Pro Films. He came from Toronto. He's the big winner. Pablo came from down south, and Tracy, Tennessee. All corners of the
all over the US. Midwest, Southeast. And then it was basically, I mean, and you designed most of it really, and we kind of learned as we went with it being our first event. But the whole goal was to pay a lot of attention to these individual drivers and assess their individual needs, do data debriefs after every single session. So following their progression through the weekend, measuring it with data, offering some goals, and then also kind of turned into using ourselves as examples as well, because you were driving your car. And you and I know that we can pick on each other and look at each other's data and be totally objective about it. And I think we made really, really big strides by the end of the weekend. Our goal was really to help people teach themselves with the data. And that's, I think, what we started to do. We also added
Sunday afternoon. Yeah. The light bulbs were going off. Yeah.
And I think the added components of tire temperatures and pressures that you and Mike kind of manage that process, as well as checking alignment and camber and stuff that you would never do on your own on a weekend with your own car. Those were all things we were able to accomplish with this event. So we could go a lot deeper than just, answering questions. Like if someone had their alignment was way out and they were just, scrubbing tires with a ton of toe out down the straightaway, we would have caught that and we would have been able to save them the handling oddities and that sort of thing. So I think it was just a really strong group environment, especially bringing people that hadn't driven the track before together.
Let's talk about the real meat and potatoes, which was time savings. The average time savings calculated over Saturday for the 8 people in question for best time on Saturday versus best time lap time on Sunday was a little over 2 seconds, about 2.2, almost 2.3 seconds average. Some people had bigger gains, some people had less, but he had a gain. Big gains, bigger than I ever would have thought, to be honest with you. Much bigger. And for those of you watching, that all came from data. And I'll suggest to you that the people who were driving were not slow. Quite the opposite. These guys could hoof cars and they found time. So don't be thinking, oh, the reason why you found all that time is because you're slow. No, that included me as well, really drilling down and being open and honest and figuring out how to get to wide open throttle sooner and keep it there. How to get into the corner faster. We can talk about that later or not at all, but the net effect is this thing went great. We're gonna do one at maybe VR, maybe at Barber. God, we should do one in your neck of the woods, dude. Do the same deal at Barber.
Yeah,
have everybody over to your house. Have Lita cook us, all like 40 of us.
That's right. Yeah, we'll all fit. I've got so much space in my place.
What's the name of your Roomba?
Roger
Roomba.
the Roomba. Yeah, Eric and I are so close. He knows the name of my Roomba. So this is a relationship that you guys should really strive for.
Eric Call, we were talking about you and data. I was talking to all the MSF Council, Motorsport Safety Foundation Council, about what we're doing. There is a lot of interest in supporting learning data, and there's a lot of workshops going on. You got a lot of data and donuts. Did I share with you the Google Calendar public calendar yet?
No, let's can you drop it in the comments on the video?
Yeah. For those of you watching, I started a calendar and all the data seminars I could find out: Peter Krause, Ray Phillips, Matt Romanowski, Roger Cadell, Jeremy Lucas, Anthony Maganoli, Chris Torres, myself, you, and you, the Ross Bentley events. There are a lot, and those are all on a calendar, almost all on a calendar. There's a couple more Rogers to add. And this is for the public all over the US to tap into. It's a public calendar for learning data and all the available workshops with links to sign up. But I'll put that on here when we're done.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
But yeah, there's just industry is accepting data and they're getting behind education. And you, my man, we're the front runner. I don't know how to point to you. You're over here.
Something
I think
like
you're
this.
over there. There, at least on my screen.
That's right. We're actually sitting next to each other, just on different. Well, I appreciate that. I think this is the day and age of being able to not only purchase a cost-effective and powerful system, but also be able to really leverage the educational component is what I would really consider. Where can you get education for it? Who's providing that education? That's what I would look at when you're purchasing hardware like this. And there's a lot we're planning on doing in the future with Apex Pro to enhance the educational component, to expand that to every single person that's using the product. And that's what we're really striving for. Real quick, I already dropped in the comments on the video a link to the Instructor Summit event at Road Atlanta. So this is not the same event we were just talking about. This is a future event coming up. It's January 18th, I believe. Is that correct, Eric?
You betcha. 18th, 19th. Date is on the 19th, Sunday. Got James from Jzilla heavily involved. He's bringing like 20 of his guys. Thank you, James. Got Adam as our host. Thank you, Adam. Got Winding Road behind this. There's a litany. It's my first use of the word litany this year. Thank you very much. Litany.
Oh, I'm sorry. My video going. I clicked in too far. Chad says Roger Roomba must have cornering skills. I've taught him everything I know. I did it again. So
what are you doing?
Exactly. I keep clicking on the video and then I'm hearing myself talk again, and it's really disorienting.
So there's a lot of data going on. I'll put a link to Road Atlanta. That's going to be massive. That's going to be huge. I'm expecting over 100 people for that one, over 150 people in Indy. Working with Matt Busby at NCM to do some data there. Just working out the details. We're taking this dog and pony on the show. Joe wants to do something in North Carolina. Romanowski wants to do. He's got a summit that I can't talk about, but we're doing some stuff. And dude, this whole data learning thing is exploding. And glad to be a part of it with you, big dog.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is just the beginning. It's going to keep growing. And I think I dropped a link already. Guys, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I think I dropped a link to the Instructor Summit event, but feel free to drop it in there again, because this is going to be killer. I mean, we got Ross Bentley coming, who we both saw last week at PRI and spent some time with. He hung out in the Apex Pro booth for quite a while, and just fantastic catching up. It's been a while since we talked, and I'm really pumped, especially hosting it at the Road Atlanta Driving Club. What a fantastic facility to be able to do something like this. It's, if you haven't been there, super cool, worth the price of entry for sure. I believe Winding Road Racing is going to be contributing to that as well.
Mills, they're going to be official sponsors of the morning and afternoon caffeine, the old after we do lunch, get all jacked up with some coffee and sodas and caffeine.
Chad said that we did drop the link in for Instructor Summit. Thanks, Chad Breidenball, man with the plan. Kevin says, just track it. Barber, January 11, 12, sign me up. Cool, Kevin. Kevin, if you come down, let me know. I will probably be at that event. I've yet to be determined, but I think I will be there.
Is
Guys,
that
one more
Porsche
thing.
Kevin?
That's Porsche Kevin. That's
What up?
VG3 Kevin. That's 134 at Road Atlanta, Kevin. Crushing it. Did some really solid driving. Guys, I also dropped a link to the Studio Road store. Eric, you saw it at Road Atlanta. I was wearing my Not Famous Racing Driver swag. I just think it's fun. I think it's great. I think that brand is fantastic.
Oh, speaking of, shout out to Eric K for leaving me some gifts. What up?
High performance driving and racing enthusiast.
Thanks, Eric Cole. Great guy. Spent the night at the house. He's like 6'9". Got my picture taken with him. I felt like his tiny cheerleader girlfriend. It was like, guy was like this tall, and I was like this. Dude's freaking tall.
He's a big dude.
Good man.
Yeah.
Great man.
Went for a ride with me at Barber not that long ago, about a year and a half ago, and we bonded, got to be friends. Hey guys, if you're looking for a last minute Christmas gift and you need something that's, $20-$30, check out the Studio Road link that I dropped in there. If you want some Not Famous Racing Driver swag, hoodie, t-shirt, mug, it's a cool brand. Davin Sturdivant, big supporter of data acquisition. Davin actually made the original AIM race studio videos that are on YouTube right now. You can easily find them. And Davin is behind the Not Famous Racing Driver brand, Davin and Chris Rode from Studio Road. And they're super cool guys. They're big supporters of what we're doing in the data industry. We're hopefully going to be working with them to correlate data with karting, because that's what Davin's really passionate about. Help support them if you need a gift for the racer in your life. It's going to be a cool deal. We got a lot of people that are supporting this stuff. They're coming out of the woodwork, Eric. We got apparel brands and guys that run big Facebook groups and all this stuff that's snowballing, right? It's going to be really cool.
Yep. Before we go here, because you and I honored our 6:30 time, right? Or our 5:30 your time.
Yep.
Shout out to Kevin, new girlfriend, Devin Scary, new girlfriend, and Kevin, and Kelly Jones for Sims. Great time with Dion. Not enough time with Dion. Ross Bentley, it was great hanging with you. David Ray, Bill Wade, all that MSF. Ryan Staub, who you went hooked up with, shared a taxi or Uber or something, right?
Oh, yeah. We had lunch together. We took the same flight. We spent the entire day Wednesday together, basically.
Scott Elkins got some quality time, and the great folks at Haggerty that we're going to make an announcement here soon that is pretty neat stuff. That's all I got. That's all I got, brother.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate it. Don't forget to trust the lights, right? That's what we always talk about with Apex Pro. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on
next week, or in the near future. We're going to do something with Michael Cooper.
We should.
Was that you, or maybe I was talking? Was that you I was talking to? We need to have him on the program. He's a smart dude.
Yeah, well, of course we need to get Coop involved. He's the man.
He's moving a lot of units and helping a lot of people.
Yeah, Mike is our Apex Pro ambassador and official tame racing driver in the NASA Great Lakes region. He's on the podium at every race for Spec 944, and he knocks it out of the park. So we're getting more and more involved with that next year, and we'll be doing some cool stuff again with NASA Great Lakes in 2020. There's so many of these partnerships going on. It's hard to keep my brain straight. It's like everybody wants to be involved. I want to be involved. Let's keep growing.
The data education space is growing. I'll put some links in the bottom, and I'll call you tomorrow to talk about stuff that I can't talk about on public right now. It's really neat stuff. Brains, dude.
Some stuff that's behind the veil a little bit.
It's PRI partnership stuff that it was a really good visit for Instructor Summit.
Awesome.
And for myself, neat stuff, and for NASA Great Lake, for everybody, MSF, neat stuff.
Good deal. I didn't expect anything less. All right, folks, we won't be here next week because it's going to be Christmas. We're all going to be with friends, family, everything else. We'll do something between Christmas and New Year's, hopefully, maybe that first week of January, kick it back off, and it should be a lot of fun.
Talk to you soon, everybody.
See you later.